Welcome to Your Ultimate Life podcast, where we help you break free from mediocrity and create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. Get your free video series at yourultimatelife.ca.
Hi there, welcome to Your Ultimate Life. Welcome to all the tools, processes, mental activities, focus, clarity, encouragement, and power you need to create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. That's how I define the ultimate life. But every time I say that, you know what I hope? I hope that you say the words that are yours. Purpose, prosperity, and joy are my words, and they're words that resonate with me. You know, I had the interesting opportunity to, Janet Atwood wrote a book called The Passion Test. Now, this was a number of years ago, 10 or 12 years ago, at least, and I was at an event where she was speaking on stage. I think it was a Brendan Burchard event a dozen years ago, and she was speaking, and she asked for volunteers from the audience to do the passion test. And in that book, she outlined a process to come to find what your passion is. And there's lots of folks that help you do that, figure out what your fire is, your passion. I have a process called the triple helix to identify your MEO, most effective offering. And it's the same thing. And the word passion is cliche, it's overused, but what it really means is the thing that you do whether or not you got paid. You know, we focus as entrepreneurs so much on what we're making money at that often we lose sight of what we really want to be doing, what we feel like we're born to do, made to do. I have a client right now who's an artist. He's a fabulous artist, and he was a guest on my show the other night, my LA Talk radio show, not this one. And he said, you know, he would die under a bridge before he would not do art because that's who he is. Well, that's passion. Now, the key, or a key, not even a key, a possibility is, gee, how can I take this passion and do it in a way that is both personally fulfilling, like really deeply, and at the same time gets paid, gets good coin, and at the same time makes a difference in the world. We'll use him as an example for a minute. He's a fabulous researcher. He's incredible on internet things like SEO and all that stuff. What he loves to do is research on his art topics, like a person or a life or a whole life of achievement or the mission of an organization. And he researches that and then puts together a montage, a picture with several central features, but that embodies the mission or the achievements of that person or organization in such a way that it is deeply moving, like people cry when they see it, because it immediately just pulls up such emotion. Now, I can tell you that that's true because I have some of his art hanging in the house. Beautiful stuff on, you know, great big 32 by 40 museum grade stretched canvas hanging in my living room, and I have several pieces of art. And the interesting thing, when I opened it and saw it, my reaction was emotional. I could feel the emotion welling up in the body. All right, so that's a passion for him. And the challenge is, and he's overcoming this, but the challenge is, how do you get paid and how do you make a big difference? So he chooses to use his art to help foundations that are adding good to the world, charities, foundations that are tackling problems, and creates amazing, one-of-a-kind, staggering, mind-blowing art to sell at auction to raise money for these foundations and charities. So that is a way. One of the things I do because of my experiences in the last 17 years, divine interventions and just wake up calls, 2x4s, whatever you want to call them, that caused me to walk away from everything I'd done up till age 52. So in the last 17 years, I'm nearly 69. For these 17 years, I've been doing nothing but personal growth, development, making me into the best person that I am, and then using all the experiences that I experienced in overcoming my fears, addictions, problems, struggles, suicide attempts, overcoming all those things, getting past all that, and then using those to be a beacon of light, a vessel of love, a conduit of power to help you get over any challenge, obstacle, or barrier that you have, and make the very best out of yourself. Because what we need from each person is the very best of them. We don't need clones. I don't need to be you. You don't want to be me. We need to be the very best of ourselves, but our world is filled with fear and discouragement and don't do that and all these warnings against just being the very best you can be at what you feel and are driven to do. All right. And, there's all kinds of trite phrases, do what you love and the money will follow and all that sort of thing. And that can be true. And people have argued both sides of that. And you've probably seen those videos like I have. So the question is, if you want to create your ultimate life, what is it? Purpose, prosperity, and joy for me. I challenge you to have your words. I challenge you to have a picture of what it looks like. I have very specific goals. Where I'm going to be, exactly what I'm going to be doing, the money that the business makes, what I'm doing with that money, the resources that I command, the places that I speak, the music, the places I sing. I have all that picture in my mind. And so what that I do? Do you? Do you know if you bumped into your ultimate life, would you recognize it? And the only way you say yes is if you know what it looks like and you've described it in detail with passion and clarity. All right, so purpose, prosperity, and joy. I hope you have your words. I want to invite you, www.yourultimatelife.ca. Go there, get the free stuff, 5 master keys to creating your ultimate life, however you define it. Today, this is titled Failure is Fuel, because if you're passionate, you're going to fail. You're going to fall on your face. You're going to get ridiculed and bashed and grumped on. Going to happen. Anyway, I was back telling a story about that passion test. And I was up on stage and she walked me through a bunch of questions and they really focused on, could you live absolutely without this or without that? And that was her process of narrowing down all the many things that all of us are interested in. And one of the funny things that happened is, my devotion to God is first above all things. My wife was in the audience and she knows that. And so's hers above devotion to me. And so in the process of the questioning, it came to something that evolved into that question, and I answered it. And she said, gee, I hope your wife's okay with that. And I knew she was, because both of us have talked about that, and she's right up there next to that. But anyway, it was just funny in doing that process and declaring those things. It really clarified for me what's important. And you might say, okay, how do you monetize a devotion to God? Well, I'll tell you. You have devotion to God, doing his will, making everything I can out of myself. That's the primary goal. But that involves doing things and being things. You don't just stand there and be devoted. Well, I have musical talents. I have speaking talents. I have writing talents. And so devotion to God looks like using my gifts and talents to serve you. It looks like using my gifts, talents, experience, and the books that I've written and the courses I've created to serve you, to help you understand your divinity, your capability, your possibility, so that you own that. And then you step into the world, and whether you are a gardener or a pizza creator or a sculptor or an artist like my client or any other thing, doing that to the best of your ability with the intention to add good to the world. When we work with all of our gifts and talents and add good to the world, we're happy, we're wealthy, and we're making a big difference. What else can you want? What else can you want? Anyway, in the process of doing that, adding good to the world with your gifts, with your life experience, the way I describe your most effective offering is your skills, plus your gifts, plus your life experience. And we don't have time on this episode to do that. I've done it on other ones, so look them up. MEO, most effective offering. There's a way to find yours so you'll know exactly what you're driven to do and exactly how to monetize it and make a difference with it. This thing I hear over and over again, I don't know how, I don't know what. That's nonsense. That's fear talking. Creating products and services is easier today than it's ever been before. Reaching people anywhere in the world who might need what you have is easier today than it's ever been in the history of mankind, womankind, all of us kind. And there's no reason except our own fears. And that's what gets in the way more than anything. Failure is another thing that stops us. So I titled this Failure is Fuel, because if you decide that you're going to live your ultimate life, you're going to make a big difference in the world, as big as you can. Maybe that's just your neighborhood. Maybe it's your whole block. Maybe it's your whole country. I'm acquainted with some people that have got really big goals, like world-changing goals. And they're creating companies that have global reach through apps and phones, that kind of thing. Guess what they're doing? Helping people be their best selves, helping people take control of their lives, their body, their bank accounts, their self-esteem, their courage, their ability to love and forgive. That's what will change the world, not just making more cash. Learning to love and forgive, learning to accept each other and to work together, solving problems. That will change the world. Greed and cash and I got mine and me first, that's never going to work. You know that. That's not news. All right. But on the way to doing that, you're going to fall on your face. You're going to get crushed. You're going to get laughed at. You're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be told you can't. It won't. And all the rest of the negative things. Some of that is going to come from well-meaning friends, relatives, maybe family, maybe your even significant other. I don't know. A lot of it comes from inside. Now, here's a funny conundrum. If you want to achieve something and it's really your passion, why would there be a voice inside that's dissuading you, that's talking you out of it, that's saying, don't try, you'll fail, it won't work, you're not smart enough, capable enough, good enough, strong enough, young enough, old enough, whatever, right? Why would we sabotage ourselves that way? Well, there's a really simple answer. Above all, we are programmed to survive. Our fear response is a fear of dying, ultimately. Dying physically, dying emotionally, being ignored, being nothing, shut down, discarded. One of the things that wrecks people when they retire is becoming irrelevant. It is less common now, but it used to be common that when a person retired from their job and went home and didn't have anything to do, they got bored and died not very long after. They might live a month, a year, 2 years. But a long and happy life after retirement was unusual until we learned and are still learning how to take advantage of the great knowledge and wisdom that people who have retired from the formal work system still have. Okay? And that is now more available than it's ever been with freelancing and the internet and the ability to mentor and do all kinds of stuff. So our ability to stay relevant, do more good, and add good to the world is bigger now than it's ever been also. Today, we're focusing specifically on failure, whether it's failure in the beginning, failure in the middle, or failure in the end. Failure feels like death. Okay, we are programmed, and maybe it's just our Western culture, but ridicule, laughter, you failed again, you can't do it, ha ha, we knew that. That kind of energy, whether it's spoken or nonverbal or however it's communicated, feels like death. It feels like I'm all the things that I was afraid of have happened. I'm finished. It's over. I'm dead. That's what it really feels like. And you know that because you've experienced it. So have I. Now, we know we're not actually dead, but it still feels like that. So our natural response is to avoid that feeling at all costs, avoid death. Well, if we've had experiences in our past, and every one of us have had some of us a ton and some of us a few, you want to avoid ridicule, being singled out, laughed at. That's why fear of public speaking is so high. You're up there alone in front of everybody and you blow it, and everybody's pointing and laughing. That's death. That feels like death. So our natural instinct is to protect at all costs against that kind of feeling, even though really no one's ever died from embarrassment. No one's ever died from ridicule unless it moved into some, physical things. So why is failure like the plague? Well, it's just because we associate that humiliation and failure with, some version or form of death. So what if we take a different view? What if failure is fuel? Instead of being death to be avoided at all costs, what if we lean into failure? What if we look 4 ways, and there's lots of descriptions of this: fail forward, fail fast, those kinds of things. And all of those sayings are trying to help us understand 2 things. One, that failure is inevitable. Things will never go like you're planning, like you thought, like you wish, like you hope. They take longer. They take more effort, more iterations, more failures, more times when you're on your face time after time, and you got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, give yourself stitches or go get them, bumps and bruises, clean up the blood and get moving forward. And I use that graphic language because sometimes failures are hard and serious and severe. So what? We're built to grow. Our DNA, our very developmental processes are built to grow, to learn, to improve, to excel, to create. That's who you really are, a divine being built to create excellence. And that striving is in you, and you know it. You felt it and you have pushed it away. Maybe sometimes you felt it and leaned into it. When we're kids, we do that, and then we grow up and learn the pain of rejection, the misery of ridicule. And then we want to avoid that at all costs. So I am proposing to you, I offer you an alternative. Failure is fuel. Failure is fuel. Failure is fuel. How can you make failure fuel? Well, number 1, recognize that failure is inevitable. It's going to happen. So lean into it and stop labeling it as an indictment on yourself. If you are not failing, then you're not doing anything. Period. You're not. You're not trying stuff. Because if you're trying stuff, you're going to fail. And then let's ask, what is failure? What is that? Well, we have this vague definition, and it is mostly accompanied by this dramatic sense of, I failed. What if failure is just not getting the outcome you expected? I failed. I didn't get the outcome we expected, and we put so much poison and baggage in the word failure, F, at school. You fail. You are a failure, that it has become poison. But the truth is, a failure simply means you didn't get the outcome you wanted. It doesn't even matter why. Maybe the experiment was set up wrong. Maybe you figure out after you try it a certain way, that was not the way to even try it. Then you can quit or you can try it a different way. But failure in and of itself there's no drama associated with it. It's simply a factoid, an interesting data point. The way you set up this effort and what you did not produce your desired outcome. End of story. Now, one thing to practice right now, your first assignment, is choosing to adopt that point of view. That didn't work. So let's substitute didn't work. Functional, non-functional. Success means functional, non-functional is failure. Work didn't work. So if you replace the emotion-laden baggage of failure with it didn't work. Oh, okay. If you say, oh, that didn't work. Oh, okay. The natural, energetic question is, okay, what else should we try? Oh, okay. I wonder what went wrong. Right? I mean, that's what we automatically think. When we use the word failure, it's got shame and hide and embarrassment. It didn't work. Doesn't have any of that. So change your language. That didn't work. That's just a statement of fact. It's an observation of an outcome. So there's a practice thing. Instead of failure, anytime you feel that rush of negative energy, of fear or of embarrassment or ridicule or frustration or whatever it is, just say, oh, that didn't work. That didn't work. Interesting. The second question right after that is, okay, what can I learn? That didn't work. What can I learn? Now that just involves looking at whatever you set up to do and whatever the outcome was you got. Like if you tried something happened, right? It wasn't what you wanted, but you don't have to call it a failure. Observe, it didn't work. I wonder why that was the outcome. That's a legitimate question. I did it expecting this, A, and I got B. I wonder why this activity produced B. Now, you can ask that question without drama. You can ask that question without self-loathing. You can ask it without hating yourself, without judging yourself, without this whole pile of crap. that people put on us or that we put on ourselves if you learn to do that. Now, we are taught through our education and our sports system and everything else that the winners get celebrated and the losers get ignored or worse yet, ridiculed. That's poison. It's certainly no way to raise kids, and it's no way to treat other valuable, precious human beings. So not only toward yourself, but toward others. Get out of the notion of failure equals bad. Failure is just didn't work. There's the first thing. Failure is didn't work. And that's all it means. Didn't produce the outcome I wanted. So never again use any of the other words. Now that's going to be a challenge. And so when you do, just notice, oh, wow, I put baggage on that again. Every time you put a negative word like embarrassment or stupid or wrong or bad, all you're doing is throwing rocks, salt in the wound, rocks on the pile. Well, nobody likes it. You don't like it when people do that to you, so stop doing it to yourself. And certainly don't do it to others. Failure is a data point. It didn't work. All right, now that we've got that established, then the next question is, what do you do? Failure is not getting the outcome you wanted. It doesn't mean anything except you didn't get the outcome you wanted. Now, the important question where the rubber meets the road is, what do you do with it? If you go get drunk and blame yourself and yell at people and yell at yourself, that won't fix it. It won't create the outcome you want. And, if that's your habit, you may get mad for a minute, but then limit it. Notice, I'm getting mad pointlessly, stupidly, or ridicule or embarrassment or shame, and then end it. All right, I'm going to let this go on for 5 minutes and I'm done with it. And then set the drama aside. And by set the drama aside, I'd actually do emotion sometimes. Okay, I'm going to take all this emotion, self-recrimination, negativity, anger, blame. I'm just going to put it over there. I'm not going to try to fix it or anything. I'm just going to put it over there for a minute. Just put it over there. Ah, good. Relaxation. Put it over there for a minute. Then you can ask a question. Okay, what do I need to do? And there's several steps here. One, if it depends on it depends on what it is. But the steps are, one, reevaluate. Do I still want to accomplish this? Now, if you ask that question in the midst of shame and guilt and blame and anger and frustration and ridicule, it's easy to say, never mind, forget it. I'm going to go home and hide under the pillow. That's why it's important to set the drama aside. Others' drama, your drama, and just look in your own heart. Do I want to have this outcome? Yes or no? I still want this. Okay, cool. So that's the first thing. Get clear about whether or not you still want this particular outcome. Now, if it was important to you, the answer better still be yes. The answer better still be yes, unless this is your 50th time. And remember, Edison had to try 1,000 times to get a light bulb. So there's no number limitation. Do you still want to do this? Okay, I do. Then you start asking the analytical questions. Well, I did this and I got that. I wonder why that happened. And you get a chance to go back through the elements of the process and see what happened. This is one of the things that coaching is so valuable for. You can bet your life that all the Olympians preparing for the Olympics that are going to be in the summer of 2024 here, they have run game film 1,000 times with their coaches. In other words, either when they're working out or on the track or in the pool or wherever they are, they have done their thing and then looked at the result, the time, the measurement, the height, and said, did I get what I wanted or not? Since we're talking about failure as fuel, then the answer is no, I didn't. Okay, let's take a look in slow-mo at the actual activity. Well, in order to do that effectively, you've got to have that drama set aside, because otherwise there's a bunch of blame and recrimination, which does nothing. So then you look at the thing. Where did I take off on the jump or the step? Or am I lifting my arms too high out of the water if I'm swimming, or any, whatever the technical details are? Now, if you're building a business and you have to prospect or you have to close clients and you have to demonstrate your product or service, like I'm a coach, happens all the time. I have to help people see what they're going to get and the value, the speed, the exponential leverage they're going to get if we work together. So that's not measurable in a game film because nobody's filming the interview most of the time. So what you have to do then is go back over the conversation. What did I say? When did I say it? What were their questions? How did I answer them? Was I rushing? Was I pushing? Did I create uncertainty? And so that's one of the things I love about coaching is running game film. And so someone will walk me through their sales presentation or their conversation or things that they might have done if they already have a client and what they were doing didn't seem to work well or the client's frustrated. Well, that's fine. Failure, great. No drama. Let's just walk through and see what happened. And that's running game film. Well, we did this and this. We got this outcome. I wonder what would happen if we tried this. What about if we suggest that? And you get a chance to go back and forth about ideas and create a new strategy. Now, that's impossible to do if it's poisoned with the sand in your shoe that says, I suck, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. What's wrong with me? What was I thinking? Those kinds of comments have no place when you're trying to improve. All they are is extra baggage rocks, so they have to go. Now, going through your performance, whatever it is, athletic or vocal or sales, performance or presentation, whatever it is, relationship, maybe you're having a difficult conversation with an employee or with a mate, and it didn't go like you wanted. Go to your coach, go over the conversation. This is what I said. It's what they said. Did it get heated? When did it escalate? What happened? And then look at it and say, what else is possible here? Because remember, your goal is to get to a successful conclusion. And that's why I say failure is fuel. Failure is fuel. Joy used to tell me, when she went to sales conferences, when she was in an MLM organization, a couple of them she did really well in, they would say, every no is a step closer to a yes. Well, that's typical sales kinds of conversations because it may take only 1 in 10 persons or 20 as people are interested in your product. That's fine. That's nothing on you. That is 1 in 10 or 20 people at that given moment, that day, need whatever it is that you have to offer. That's fine. Or maybe there were some that could have needed it if I had been better at explaining things or answering questions or more confident in my capability to demonstrate the value of the product or service. Well, that opportunity to grow can be ferreted out and uncovered and revealed in a coaching conversation. Running game film. What happened? Where did it go south? Why do you think? What else can we try? So the failure is fuel because every no is one step closer to a yes. The failure gives you a chance to recommit. I do want this. I do want my first $25,000 month in commissions. I do want that. Even though I didn't last month, I do still want it. I am committed. I'm ready to do it. Let's run the game film. Let's see where I can grow, see where I can improve. Now, if you're able to do that without the drama of, it reflects on you as a person, somehow you suck and you're not okay, you'll be able to grow and grow quickly. And then each of those failures isn't even a failure. It instead is an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to explore your skill level. It's an opportunity to explore what else is available to you. So I have a call every couple of weeks with a really, really experienced A-list vocal coach. And I have for years working on my singing, even though I've been in professional groups. I do it because I want to become even better and better and better. I had a call yesterday, the day before I'm recording this. I sang for him and did several songs. And immediately I said, okay, give me your feedback. Give me your comments. What am I doing? Here's what I'm doing from the last time we talked. The drama is out. The answer is I want to grow. So even if I did something that was not what I expected, not what I wanted, there's no drama. So failure is fuel if you don't bring drama. Failure is explosive if you bring self-recrimination. Failure is destructive if you bring self-loathing. I should have known that. Never going to get this. That kind of stuff is explosive. It's poison. It didn't work. What else can I try? Is honest inquiry and the path and the road to growth. I don't care what you need to do. You're wherever you are. Your ultimate life is a set of goals that you have in the future, next week, next month, a year from now, 5 years from now. Every step you take is moving in that direction. Every time you drop the drama and simply inquire about growth, you can move faster. You can overcome challenges. I know it. I've coached it. I've done it. You're a divine being. You have infinite capability and power. Go right now to www.yourultimatelife.ca. Download the free stuff there, the 5 master keys to your ultimate life. I'd love to meet you, to hear about how you're adding good to the world and what you're up to. One of the most fun parts of my job is meeting cool people just like you. There's no doubt in my mind that you can do whatever is required to get from where you are to living your ultimate life.
Open your heart and this time around,
Thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope that you take it deeply into your heart and decide for yourself how you can create anything you desire. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends. As always, we'd love to hear your feedback and topic suggestions. Until tomorrow, this is Your Ultimate Life with host Kellan Fluckiger.
stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on the ground.